Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means? It's time for 2-Minute Tech Tuesdays, a weekly series about Varnish technology, presented to you in 2 minutes or less. My name is Thijs, I'm the technical evangelist at Varnish Software, and in this week's episode, we'll talk about a cool feature with an equally cool name. It's called the Memory Governor. And what that means, I'll explain to you in just a second. I just need to put 2 minutes on the timer. Are you ready? Let's do it. The Memory Governor is a feature of Varnish Enterprise's massive storage engine. It does automatic memory management and solves the following problem. Imagine that you have a server with 90 gigabytes of memory. You allocate 80 gigabytes for Varnish, for object storage, and the remaining 10 gigabytes serves as headroom. But because of the runtime costs of Varnish, 10 gigabytes is required for object overhead and for workspace client memory. So that means you're left with only 70 gigabytes for object storage. But objects that are very short-lived or that can't be cached at all need to temporarily end up in the transient storage, which could also consume space. And that 70 gigabytes is now reduced to 65 gigabytes. And with varying traffic patterns, the transient storage, the object overhead, and the workspace client memory could increase, which eats away from your headroom. And perhaps you make a crucial VCL mistake that ensures that a large portion of objects becomes uncacheable and ends up in transient storage. Your headroom is gone, your server goes out of memory, and your system goes down. And that's one of the big challenges of operating a Varnish server at scale. How much memory do you allocate to Varnish for object storage, and how much do you keep available on the system for other sources of memory consumption in Varnish, knowing that object storage is fixed and the rest is variable. And that's exactly the problem that the Memory Governor fixes. The Memory Governor limits the memory size of the Varnish worker process instead of the size of the object storage, so that the total memory consumption of Varnish is fixed and the size of the object storage is variable. And this is how you enable the Memory Governor. In your massive storage engine configuration file, change the memcache size of your environment from that absolute value to auto. And to control the total memory footprint of Varnish, simply add the memory_target runtime parameter. It can be a percentage, it can also be an absolute value. Even if you're not using a configuration file, you can simply add either an absolute value or a percentage. And even if you don't specify an MSE configuration file, simply using -s MSE will enable the Memory Governor, and the memory target will be the standard value of 80%. That was the Memory Governor, a very significant feature, a no-brainer for people who operate Varnish at a certain scale with varying traffic patterns. But that was just one feature from Massive Storage Engine. It offers a lot more and actually allows you to store massive amounts of data. It's highly configurable, hence the reference to the configuration file. But if you only care about memory storage, simply use -s MSE, don't mention any parameters, and 80% of the memory of that server is allocated to Varnish. That was it for this week. I'll be back next week with more content about Varnish presented to you in 2 minutes or less.